What's going on, guys? How we doing?
What's up?
This is episode 2 of the KMK podcast featuring TJ Cirili.
Welcome, TJ.
So today our topic is going to be coming back from injuries and perseverance and, the whole cycle of that. I think it's huge in sport, not only sports, but in life too. So, TJ's like a family to us, and, I want to really tell his story. I want everyone to hear, what he's been through, how he's overcome it, and how it relates to the game of life, and how it helps out all of us. So, Chris, you want to start it up?
Yeah, you want to introduce yourself, tell the people who you are, and
so I'm TJ Cirili. I'm from Fairfield, Connecticut, but I moved to California last year to try and play football, and then my brother and sister went to Southern Cal, and then we decided to move back, and then I got summer, and I was playing great football at prep, and then fractured my fibia, and then went through that whole recovery process, and then found out after my knee was like full with fluid and stuff that I had a meniscus root tear, which is basically when your meniscus, you don't tear your meniscus, but you tear your meniscus like off your bone, and then it's basically floating, so then your ACL is a huge risk for that.
Yeah. So tell everyone how you're attacking this injury, because we see it every day, but for the people back home or people watching this video, they can't see the work that you're putting in all facets of the rehab. So why don't you take us through your daily routine the last couple of months?
Yeah, it started really slow 'cause for the first 6 weeks I was on crutches and I couldn't straighten my leg because this injury isn't it's not a full strengthening injury, it's really a healing, like a broken bone. But the past few weeks I've been getting in mobility and then also doing PT, which has escalated into now I'm running, but like the first few weeks I was it started with the bike, getting my full range of motion back, and then leg pressing only to 40 degrees, and then pushing it to 50, 60, 70 each week. And it was a really slow process, but then I really have to say, once I got off crutches, it kind of just I lost track of the whole 12 weeks of me back, and I just started to live my life again how I like to. And then I would get in the gym and I'd lift with you guys, and I'd hit arms and I'd feel great, and then it would take my mind off things, which was great. So,
and for those of you guys who don't know TJ, he is in the gym 1 to 2 times a day.
Yeah.
And it's been incredible to watch where you started up to where you are now.
Yeah,
truly.
And I think T has a great team around him. Obviously we love to help you out, but if you could kind of talk about how your family has impacted you, because if you guys can see what his family does for him and supports him, and we really all our family here, but we really come into contact with him, and it's just always a great vibe. So if you want to kind of tell them how your family has helped you throughout the process.
Yeah, I mean, my family's been really close all the time. That's one of the main reasons we moved to California, to be all together again, since my siblings are out there. But then when we moved back, it was just me and my dad for the first 3 or 4 weeks while my mom was still figuring out this whole move, because it was really last second. And then they were really supportive of me. My sister and brother, they obviously could have been mad that we're leaving as a family, but they decided to take my side even if they didn't want to, and they were always there supporting me. Then I got hurt, and my brother and sister were a call away all the time. They keep in touch with me. After my surgery, they were the first people I wanted to talk to. We talked all the time. I FaceTime with them at least once or twice a week, and it helps. It makes them feel like family. I think it's important not to lose track of them, even though they're in college.
Right.
And then both my parents played Division I. They both obviously had injuries, so they help me a lot, and they're always there on my side. If it's mentally or physically, they'll always put down whatever they're doing to get me here, get me to physical therapy. They never question anything, and they help me work through everything.
I would say your dad is your right hand man.
Yeah,
he's
definitely.
always 100%.
Yeah, me and him are in the gym together at least once, maybe even twice a day at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. Yeah.
No, 100%. But and you talk about it because I think when you get injured, or maybe in life you get fired or something bad happens, you're in such a low mental state. So how can you kind of speak on the mental aspect and how important that is? Because it is a grind. It's a 12-week process, day in, day out, 2 times a day, the eating, the supplementation, the PT, the rehab. So how do you stay mentally strong throughout this process, knowing that it's a long process?
Yeah, I just look at it week by week. It was obviously hard coming out of surgery. The first 2 weeks were easy because I was still I say when you're on crutches, it's really easy for the first week because it's you don't get used to it until 2 weeks, and then it starts to hurt in your armpits. And and like you adjust to it fine. And then like I was really down mentally. Like there's days that I was out of school and me and Kevin would go eat lunch and then work out and then honestly go eat again and do the same thing over and over again. Just get me out of like get me out of my fog that I've been in a couple days with this injury, because I like to move a lot, and working out has obviously been like that. But then it's obviously got better, like talking to guys like you and being surrounded by people that have got hurt, and then like hearing what they have to say. I feel like my biggest part of that was being able to listen to them and actually take their advice and not realize they're actually trying to help, not just like talk to me. They like what they say is really
it's a
help.
great quality.
Yeah, and I mean, let's backtrack a little bit. I mean, for people who don't know, I mean, like T was coming in as a freshman, potential starter on a state championship Fairfield Prep, team. It's not like he had all these big aspirations. So it was a huge injury for him, because he wanted to set the record straight as a freshman. He came in with a ton of hype and all this stuff. So all of that like hype and all of that, that was for me, I thought that was a huge hurdle to get over, because you may feel like it's out of your control, but you may feel like you're letting people down because you have all this hype. So I mean, how did you overcome that? Because I think overcoming that obstacle was probably the hardest.
Because that's a season-ending injury.
Yeah,
I'm sure it was not good seeing your teammates fight week by week. On the sidelines.
Yeah, definitely not. When I came back, I obviously had a lot of like expectations, not only on myself, but I'd say like the coaches, but they're realistic expectations. I worked so hard that I was ready for all this stuff. I didn't doubt myself because I was younger than these kids. I don't care that I'm 4 years younger, 3 years younger. But when I got hurt, that was actually like such like a hard point, because I was like, wow, I could be starting right now. I could be helping my team. It's not like I was going to sit on the sideline. I was going to help them. And then when I'd see them lose, we had a rough start to the season. But they obviously came back and made it to the state championship. But like watching them fight in these games that I know I could have helped, it sucked to watch from the sideline. It would like take all of me to keep my head up and be like helpful for my teammates, just to be in the moment and not focus on like, as hard as I want to focus on me being out there, I got to be there for my teammates.
And I dealt with this when I got injured. I tore my ACL twice as a junior and senior playing basketball. But a lot of people, were saying, and I know this like, hurt home, where they're like, oh, T, you have 3 more years. But, when you really want to be great at something, you want it now, and you don't want to say that it's going to happen in 3 or 4 years. So, I mean, talk to me about that, because I know we've had personal
we had that conversation. When I got hurt, everything, the moment I found out, all my coaches, and it's a good advice just for me. It hurt because I heard it so many times, and I was so focused on the now, not the then, and the future. But like, they're all like, you have 3 more years, focus on your grades, you'll get them up, and then you'll play. You're not losing anything. But in reality, I came back because I wanted to play with this team this year. Obviously, the seniors are some of my best friends that I would go to it for anything, and I had to watch them fight by themselves. So then that obviously sucked. And then so that stuff.
Yeah.
What advice do you give other athletes that may be in your shoes down the road, that might end up with a season-ending injury? Give us some tips.
You gotta go day by day, hour by hour. Just focus on the little things, like being able to going from crutches to walking, and then even being able to leg press at a higher degree, and then just feeling more normal, like going back to your day-to-day life, even though you had knee surgery 3-4 weeks ago. And then staying in the moment is really the biggest thing for me, because I'd like to think about what I could have done in the past so I didn't do this. I thought about how I could have stopped myself from getting hurt, or what I could have done to be on the field right now, instead of being like, I got hit with a challenge and I'm going to have to work through it, so then I am ready for the future instead of just thinking about it.
And you are clear now, right? You just got cleared now.
I'm feeling good.
Awesome.
Back running, which is good.
Awesome.
Now, talk about, how we talk about, being a freshman and having all this hype. Like, what do you think is the biggest key to someone being successful at an early age, whether it's sports, as a freshman, early on in business, or when you graduate college? What are some keys to being successful, you think, at an early age?
I think like being there and doing it, and not just going through the motions. Like, I always set goals when I'm working out with you two. I always try and go the same way with you guys, because
for sure.
like awesome. I trick my mind, because then when I'm your guys' age, I'm gonna set the bar even higher. And then I work with people that are better, and I don't think I'm the best right away. I know there's people better than me, and I see, and I try and critique myself on how I could be more like them. And then also, like, I've always worked with high role models, working out with some of the USC guys, and like having to guard like their tight ends, having to work against their tackles and just watching how they move and seeing how like that's what I want to be when I'm older.
Yeah, I mean, I
I'm
always
gonna
think
work to that.
if I could, go back in time, like when I was your age, I always hung around kids my age and my grade. Like we just didn't talk for the seniors.
Yeah.
You have a great relationship, with Tanner and all those seniors. And I think they help, mold you into, because I think you're, sometimes our age. Sometimes.
Yeah.
I realize that you're.
The maturity level. I feel like saying this coming from me, I'm still 15, is hard to say, but hanging around them and always being with my brother and sister who are older than me by a lot.
15.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they're older by me a lot, and I had to grow up quick. Like, I grew up with a lot of challenges in school, and I grew up with anxiety and had to fight my way through school. But I feel like that aged me a lot, and I'm more mature these days to the point where I can hang around you guys and it's
I think that's almost a gift sometimes, because I suffer from anxiety, and I'm sure a lot of people do at times, but it's a gift because you can help people who have that, and everyone thinks that they want to see the outside surface and they don't really know what's going on in the day to day. But we've talked about having that same kind of anxious behavior on certain things because we want to just go, but we can only control what we can control. And it's a lot easier said than done, so that makes me anxious. Because we want goals right away, but
there's a process to get to
it's a process, and so I know that when you share that with someone who has similar stuff like that, it really helps in the process. So.
Kevin, being TJ's trainer, obviously I know because I'm right there with you guys. But for people who don't know, what have you seen the good out of TJ through this whole process? What do you think he's done the right way? Maybe needs to improve on.
So the thing that I think TJ, what I'm so proud of him is he comes in like a star-studded, like all the potential in the world, and a lot of people that have those hype, or has that hype, they feel like they know everything, and it's easy because like everything, that comes easy for him, but he was good at pretty much everything. Yeah. So when you're young like that, and you might not think like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, or you're kind of like half listening. But anything that I say, or one of our coaches Ben too, he's been really great with him working on mobility. Like I think each trainer here at KMK offers a different aspect and a different niche, and TJ just hands himself over to them and say, you're the boss, and I'm gonna follow your lead on that. And listen, that's my biggest thing is because other freshmen that I deal with, why are we doing this, or when I try to talk to them, about bigger things than just the gym stuff, you can tell they're not paying attention. So that's my biggest thing that I've seen from him, that he's really taking initiative, asking questions, and really doing that. So that's
I definitely agree on that.
Yeah, learning in here, like when I first got here, I obviously came in like everyone, and I was like, oh, I want to do these movements, and I quickly learned to trust you guys because you guys have been in this, and you went to school for this, you guys know what to do, and I've learned to trust you guys, and I've seen more improvements in myself, like on a day-to-day basis than I could ever imagine. Because of that.
And that's what's rewarding for us too is like when you win, we win, and it's like a whole process.
Right.
Yeah, I love that.
Like I was saying before, it's awesome to kind of just take that step back and watch you guys, all these athletes that walk in that door every day, kind of grow as athletes and as people,
Yeah.
And like you said, you like to surround yourself with older guys like myself and Kevin. I think that's great, and I love KMK for that reason because, especially like you said with myself and Kevin, I do the same thing with Kevin, our buddy Keenan, and the same thing goes for all these younger athletes that look up to guys like you. And all these athletes we have, it's really cool to see.
Yeah, that's one of those things I feel like that separates KMK from other gyms is I walk in the door and I know you guys have seen what I'm doing. I know you guys have seen my highlight tape. I know you guys aren't just in it for the money. You like to see everyone learn and see it because I work out with you guys now. You guys trained me for a while, but now we work out all together, and it's more fun that way. And I know you guys, we're keeping up with each other, and it's like a family here. Trust you guys.
Now T came up with this quote that I was like, wait, you thought of that yourself? Because I love it. I'm thinking about getting a cat.
Yeah, I love it.
Do you want to tell them that?
Yeah, I mean
that saying, and because I think it speaks to all different aspects of life, and I think it's really important. So why don't you tell me about that saying?
Yeah, the past weekend I was on the bus up to Yukon for the state championship, and I was feeling all the hype, and I was like, wow, I'm ready to play. And then I snapped into it, and I was like, I'm not playing. And I'm like, And then I was just thinking, I was listening to my music, and I was thinking about adversity and what I've learned from it and what I've taken from it. And I feel like being able to learn and grow from it. So then I was like, adversity is really a gift, because people who don't face adversity, once they're in the real world, they don't know what to do if they get their car broken into, if they face failure. They don't know that failure is really a good thing, because it teaches you more than success. You take more away from it. So I've realized that like the adversity I faced growing up has really been like, it's taught me more, and it taught me more than if I was like an easygoing, like everything was really, really easy for me.
Right.
So I think adversity really like changes people in a really, really positive way.
And I think that's great that you said you learn more from losing than winning, because everyone really wants to win, but they don't want to go for losing. Like, it's almost a victory when you lose too, because you're like, okay, how can I improve, right?
Yeah, because when you win, you're obviously doing things right, but when you lose, you see your weaknesses and you work on them, and then all of a sudden you're winning more and more because your weaknesses.
And it's the journey that's actually the fun part. It's not, it's not the destination, right?
Yeah, I hated the journey before. Like I came in here, I hated getting up, I hated working out, I hated the practice part of like football. I always wanted to go game.
Right.
And then coming in here, I've learned like training. You really feel the difference when you train 5 to 7 times a week, and then you go into a game and you feel fresh, you feel strong, you can make that tackle that you don't think you could make like beforehand.
100%.
So yeah, definitely. Adversity is definitely a gift, especially for, I feel like, people growing up, because adversity that you face when you're a kid sticks with you for the rest of your life, and it makes you grow, and then you'll probably never have that problem again.
Yeah. So another thing, obviously you mentioned you moved from California to Fairfield.
Yeah.
What would you want your legacy to be in Fairfield? Because obviously that was a big transition from California to Fairfield. When you moved to Fairfield, were you thinking about, what legacy do I want to leave here? How do I want people to remember me in Fairfield? Because I know, you grew up here, but then you went to Cali. So I mean, that's a big decision, like coming back. So what kind of led you to that decision, and what do you want your legacy to be?
Yeah. So I obviously left Fairfield with a lot of hate moving to California. People didn't like my decision, and people were kind of surprised that my parents this is going on that same topic. They just picked up and moved for me because they knew there was opportunity to be had, and to be with my family was really important to me. And then when I came back, I obviously always had the dream of coming back to finish what I started, to be with the people I played with, like my coaches. I've grown up being coached by them, and then I'm coached by them now, and then playing with the same kids now as I did when I was a little kid. Obviously, it was a big dream to me, but I feel like the biggest legacy I would want to hold, and I learned this in California, is these kids, you're going to school with them every day. I obviously went to a huge athlete school. Like these kids were 5 stars. They already had like NILs, they had their Porsches, and they acted normal. They went into school, they did their homework, they got out, and then they went and trained, and like it was day-to-day basis, and then they had their fun, but they really just worked. And I feel like if I could do one thing, I really want to have that story of going to California and then coming back and finishing my business, and obviously making my goals of making a D1 and playing high levels. And then obviously the recruiting is really hard out of Connecticut, like versus California, and I faced a lot of that. And I'm facing,
you definitely dealt with that in high school, right? I just feel like sometimes big time colleges just don't look at Connecticut football, so
I think CT is definitely on the come up in terms of recruiting.
Yeah, I agree.
Like we all know, just we've lived here, there are some dogs, that have came out of Connecticut and now that play in big time colleges, but you're right. That recruiting aspect of coming out of a kid that's from Connecticut is tough, You kind of have to stand out in your own way.
Yeah. And I think like leaving a legacy, you want to leave something better than what you started with, right? So like if you grew up here and recruiting, wasn't as good, but then you left
and you made it good,
and then you made it good, and you were the star of the team.
Like that's
awesome.
Winning
in itself, right?
Yeah, I obviously got a huge jump start, having a really good year in California, which I didn't expect. And then I came back here, and I'd love to go and have the ability to connect like all these kids to their colleges and who they want to play with, and I want to start that journey of kids starting to go where they want and being able to like Connecticut kids. Like I gotta say, the competition here in California, nothing really separates it. Like kids work hard here, they just don't. They're not as loud, so you don't see it as much. And then you go into a game, and these kids are still 6'3", 215 pounds, and running fast and hitting hard. It's like it's just how it is.
Oh, yeah, 100%. So T, what can we, it's almost a new year, what can we expect from TJ Cirili in 2023?
Yeah, obviously I like working with my dad because he's a huge help with all this stuff, having me manifest what I want to do, and my mom obviously too helps me stay like she kind of keeps me grounded because she sees everything I go through. So she keeps me like, she's like, you're still 15, you're still a freshman in high school. You gotta have your fun. But in 2023, I definitely want to have a great winter. I want to run some track. I want to get faster. And then this summer, I want to attend. Like, I'm still a freshman, so I have time to mess around with the Big Ten, SEC, Pac-12 schools that I want to go to. So I'm going to try and get out there and see what I can do and get on their lists. And then next season, I really want to have a breakout season. I want to put my name on the board. Yeah. Because I know what I'm capable of. I've trained here twice a day, every day. So I know I'm capable. I'm not nervous for it. I know what I'm capable of. So.
Right. And I think your mom is right. And I try to tell this to all my kids is, you're still only 15. You said that your mom preaches that. You definitely have to have that balance. You're a kid still. You're going through high school, which is some people's best time in their lives. So you definitely have to go out with your friends, enjoy the time while you're in it.
There's a good
but
balance.
Also have that balance.
Yeah.
Coming here and you know that you work hard. Your dad pushes you. We all push you. You want you to do well. But just find that balance.
Yeah, balance is key. Definitely. Like, I think I found myself in California, which is a huge. I'll open up, but it was a huge reason I wanted to move home. I didn't hang out with a single kid outside of school. I went to school, got there, it was an hour drive on the daily. I went to school, had like a good school day, and then I would go play football in Culver City, which is another 45 minutes away from my house. So then I got home at 9, did my homework, and I was already tired, and I'm obviously not going anywhere at 10:30, 11.
Right.
So then I kind of missed it, and I got homesick because I was missing like my 2 to 3 best friends that I could always go to their house and rely on, like making me like bring me up again after like a hard football game. I always like the best part is going to celebrate with your boys.
You need that.
Yeah, and I guess like a big thing that I feel like celebrates is like the brotherhood, also tying into prep. The brotherhood is insane. I know I trust all of them. Like I walk into school, you're having a bad day, you talk to them and you're immediately laughing, you're immediately having fun, and it's not a lot of pressure. You just be yourself.
Right. Now you brought up a good point. That I didn't even think about, but like how important is it having, obviously like a good environment and friends and family around you in order to accomplish your goal? Because no one really talks about that. Like, you have to have like a good environment and you have to, have fun. You have to have a balance in order to, I think, be successful. Because if you're not happy after the grind, it's going to make the grind that much
it's not
harder.
worth it. I had a great I loved my year in California. I had a great football year, but I wasn't happy socially. But then, like back here, I'm surrounding myself. I have a good circle. Obviously, my sister's playing Division I lacrosse, so she's always there to push me. And then my brother is like really smart. He has a great job in New York now. My dad is really successful. My mom's a great mom. And then like also branching out from my family, I have 2 friends that are insane at lacrosse and football, and they're obviously gonna go far in that. And it's great being surrounded by different types and not just the same kid, like the same mold as me, because then we go head to head and we
super important.
Yeah, seeing what they go through for lacrosse and then seeing me with football, it keeps like the balance. You say like you see what like different sports have you doing, and it's really like some of these kids are built for these other sports, but then like people find where they're supposed to be, and you can see it because they're happy. You see a smile on their face this summer at prep training. Like we'd be up at 6 in the morning and we'd obviously be doing suicides, and we didn't want to do that. And we'd still have a smile on our face because we'd be laughing. Like you guys would be training, we'd be like, it's a great, like the whole circle, surrounding yourself with the right thing, and I feel like not getting distracted is a huge thing.
Oh yeah. Me and T talk about it.
Yeah, I think I got, like I'll put it on myself.
TJ, put the phone away.
Well, we're all the same way though.
Yeah.
It's like, I was talking to T the other day. They did a study about happiness, and they said if you're, the lead cause to unhappiness is distraction. So when you're daydreaming about something, you're always saying like, what if, or what's the worst situation that can happen. Daydreaming is the number one cause for depression. So when you're present, that's when you're the happiest. Whether it's focusing on a task, like, I need to do my homework, or go to the gym. When your mind starts wandering, instant depressions. And I remember sending you that podcast, that TED Talk. About that, and they actually legit did a study on that. So that's one thing that I took to heart. I mean, when we train, we have literally a cubby for our phones that would really put away no phone. Yeah. We both yell at each other if we check our phone, switch the song. But now we know that we train enough times, just put on the playlist and just let it roll. So
yeah, and I feel like obviously coming back from a year where I didn't have any social life, I got really distracted, and I don't want to say that I caused my own injuries, but I definitely didn't stay out of my own way. And this summer, I got distracted. I feel like I could have worked harder, but then that's also me being in the present, seeing what I'm capable of. I love the sport of football, and I want to keep working at it. And like I always think into the past, like what could I have done differently? What if I did one more sprint, what would I be doing? If I was actually at the field instead of like sitting in my bed, how much better would I be? Would I beat this kid in a race? Would I make that game-saving interception? Like all that stuff. Staying like not distracted and just staying in like a straight road is so much better instead of, like a lot of people break their own success.
Yeah, they don't know. Some people don't know how to handle success. They get success, they don't know how to handle it, and they don't, and they stop doing what got them crazy in the first, in the first place. So.
All right, I guess last couple questions. What is your end goal? Where do you see yourself? What is your goal?
When I was a little kid, I obviously dreamed of going to the NFL, and you learn that only 1% go to college, and then 1% of that 1% go to the NFL. So it's really a grind, and I have friends and family friends that are going and doing it, and I see what they're doing. So I think my end goal is definitely to be a great impact on the people around me, but also I want to play in the NFL for sure. I want to make it to college. I want to.
Well, it's on video. So
this
will be on the draft highlight.
Hopefully, So I just want to work towards that goal, and it's in my mind, in the back of my mind, all the time when I'm in that class I don't want to be in. It's because I don't want to go to the NFL, and I can't go to college if I don't have a good grade. So keeping that,
Anybody, you got all of us around you. We're all cheering.
It's great.
And it's so possible. I mean, I know you throw out those percentages, but like when we've seen and been around NFL people, we both know them. You work just as hard as them. You have just as much, natural born potential. I mean, don't sell yourself short, even though those percentages are crazy. You can't be focused on that. So, and I mean, this is going to teach you, whether you make it or not. Is going to say that you shoot for the stars. The worst thing to do is hit the moon. So worst case scenario, it's still great, and it's all like we talked about before. It's all about the process. It's not about the destination. So you're going to look back and be like, damn, I love doing those 2-a-days, grinding. Like those are the most fun I've ever had.
You can't set too high of expectations. You gotta be fearless with what goes on in your life. And you can't fear like failure. Obviously, I say that a lot because like if you fear it, you're never gonna reach your top dollar.
Yeah, so you have a tattoo. You want to tell us a little bit?
Yeah, we got tattooed this summer together.
In where?
In KMK, right over there.
Chris's dad, shout out.
Yeah, I got tattooed right on my arm because when I was growing up, I obviously don't open up a lot about this because I fear that people will look at me differently knowing that I went through a lot of that stuff. I missed law school due to anxiety, and then I got anxious about being anxious, and then it was always in the back of my mind. And growing up with my parents, great parenting through it, and they were always like, once you get through the door closes behind you, and you can walk out once you finish your business. And there's obviously the school. Once I got in the classroom, you sit down, you handle your business, and you leave. So then my whole goal in life is to be fearless with that door. You don't know what's there. You don't know if it's success or failure, or if it's going to teach you something, or you can't be scared of what's behind the door because you never know. I saw one of these.
That's what your tattoo says.
Yeah, it says fearless, and it's like a great reminder when I do get anxious, and like if I do have to go speak on a stage, I look down. I know I've been through worse. I know I've done stuff that's not gonna hurt me like this, and this is actually gonna make me grow. I've actually in the past year with everything I've been going through, I've learned to anxiety sucks obviously, but it teaches you a lot, and then you start to live with it, and then it almost becomes before games I'm anxious, but that anxious feeling, you don't feel right if you don't have it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It means you care.
Yeah, obviously it does. Anxiety definitely means you care.
Anxious if you don't care.
100%, yeah. I think it was a huge, it's a great reminder every day to wake up to it because it teaches you to wake up fearless. You're having a fearless day. Do what you can, greater yourself, greater the people around you, and do what you can to have a great future.
Yeah. So, I mean, in order to sum everything up that, we talked about, how can you, tell everyone watching, how would you relate you coming back from this injury to, how can this help anyone in any aspect of life, whether it's, work, sports, anything?
Yeah, you can relate it straight to jobs. You get fired, and you get a lot of people they go lay in their bed 24/7. They have a hard time finding a new job, and they're like, I don't know if I want to go work for this again. But instead, when you get hurt, it's really about taking that time to focus on the little things, focusing on my hip, knee, ankle mobility, and then in the game, it's going to help me not get hurt again. It's going to help me be able to be better on the field, quicker on the field, and it's also taught me a huge thing in life that if you get put down, you get straight back up, and it gets better. Life's full of ups and downs.
Rainstorms don't last forever. Right?
Yeah, definitely. And the rainstorm makes the grass green. You can't have green grass without rain. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. That stuff's great.
All right. You got any questions for us before we end it?
If you guys could change one thing when you were growing up, what would you change? Like I would say like mentality or how you handled your day to day. If you could change one thing on how you went about your like younger self, what would you do?
You want to take this one first?
Yeah, like, I would definitely say coming from a college athlete, I played football in college, you know, so I wasn't in your shoes long ago, you know. Definitely wish I grinded a little bit more, you know, like I didn't come to a place like KMK. I didn't have a place where I would work at, you know. I worked at a local commercial gym, or I would work at my old high school. Kevin, who was my trainer in high school. But I wish that mentality, like you said, that dog, that kind of I see in myself now with this place. I still cared about it. I had a great passion for the game and myself. But I wish, obviously, there's always going to be times where you look back and you're like, I wish I'd pushed myself a little bit.
Yeah, like, you know, and get done with the workout, you wish you did that extra set because you know it's gonna make you feel better.
For me, back where we talked about like you hanging out with older people. I mean, to me, I wish I did that. Sometimes I stayed in my circle just because I loved it. It was easy, and I didn't really push myself outside of that. Maybe I was like timid or anything to hang out with older people, but I think if I hung out with older people, kind of like you do, I think I just gained so much, from them. And then just, kind of having mentors early, because I literally always knew I wanted to, be in the, gym life, open up a gym. I always knew I wanted to do that, but, even as early as 15, I was training people in my garage. That's how it all started. But I wish I had seeked out some mentorship for people who open up their own gyms and then got on their wing early, kind of like how you do, and how we have older mentors. I wish I had that when I was younger in the field that I wanted to go in, because I knew what I wanted to do. So I should have actively seeked out, be like, hey, this guy did exactly what I do. Let me hang out with him, let me ask him questions, let me work for him, let me do anything that he wants and learn, and then then will be my time. So that's kind of like, if I can go back in time, I wish I could have that. So
yeah, I was actually gonna ask if you guys saw yourself doing what you're doing today, when you're my age. Yeah,
always. Definitely, I would say that.
Yeah.
Always been like that sports guy. So it's perfect.
Yeah, and you guys have stuck to your goals, even though you've gone through the thick and thin. You guys have had each other through it, which is cool. I like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sick.
Well, hey man, we're all rooting for you. You got people behind you. Can't wait to see what you do later.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
All right. Episode 2, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Crushed it.
Yeah, that was good.
Thank you.
That was really good. It just started flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just texted me, said just make sure they shut it off.